gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ice Place while we'd roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoney, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion, and it's mine.
How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. Me and my hometown, baby, we go way back. All the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey, I know every street sign, hanging around the block like if you are my friend, then you are welcome any moment. Yeah. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
Aloha, gang. Welcome. Yes. All right, folks, welcome to the show. Today, we're going to get into a topic that, right now is super near and dear to my heart, and that is basically making podcasts on YouTube. So we're going to talk a little bit about it because back in the day, believe it or not, I used to do 2, maybe 3 different podcasts on YouTube, and I'm going to just go ahead and say right now, they were freaking horrible. Horrible, as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. So what I want to do is come and tell you some mistakes that I noticed and see if we can find a way to make sure that you don't fall for some of the same pitfalls that I fell for in the beginning. So it's going to be dope. And, man, you just don't know. This last couple of days, been just doing crazy stuff, working on getting the Creator 50 podcast off the step. And I got the first video posted yesterday, I want to call it. My goodness. In the process of editing that video, I had everything squared away. I edited it in the script, which is weird because, should have just did it in Final Cut. But I'm like, I'm going to go learn how to do this the way that you should do it so that I can show you guys. I have done basic edits in the script and open it up in Final Cut and then finish it. Done it lots of times. I'm like, this is going to be dope. I've done it before. Powered through it in the script. Was pretty simple. The script stepped their game up. I still prefer to do my audio with Auphonic. We might have to do an entire shop on how to do that. Anyway, once the thing was done in the script, I said, okay, export this Final Cut XML. Family, it exported the XML perfectly fine. I had to run to dinner. So I go to dinner, I come back, SML sitting on the desktop here in iCloud. I'm upstairs on the M1 iMac. I open it up. Everything is flawless. I'm like, dope. I'm going to just wait till I do this downstairs in the studio because the Mac Studio is like 11 million times faster than the M1 iMac. So I'm like, I'll just edit it quicker if I go down to the studio. So have a little coffee, run downstairs. The M1 Mac Studio had upgraded to the new Final Cut. I didn't realize that the iMac upstairs had not. Well, the script hasn't upped their XML file yet. And so it still puts out a Final Cut 10.9 XML, whereas the new Final Cut is like Final Cut 10.10, whatever, something of that nature. Man, I opened it up and it was crooked. It was crooked than the mug. So I was like, oh, we got problems. I basically, this is funny, had to go back upstairs and just save it as a Final Cut project and then bring that down on some drives, come down, import it into here, took a couple extra steps, but a nabob broke the whole edit, and I was not excited. But finally got it together, finished it off in Final Cut. Anybody wants to see how we do that edit in the script and get it in the Final Cut, please drop me some notes and whatnot so that I know that's the way to go. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Keely telling Miles, between Miles' ADD and my ADD, yeah, we can't go off topic because it'll get sideways real quick. Okay, hold on. Let me get this together. Keely, you can't make me laugh first thing in the morning when I'm already semi-delirious for lack of caffeine. So, there's that. Okay, let me get that covered. You guys are super funny today. All right, we're almost there. Sorry, I just messed my whole self up laughing at Keely. La la. All right, man, this is good. So anyway, make sure if you guys, I want to know while I throw this last sleeve where it needs to go, I want to know from you guys in the old chat down there, how many of you guys are doing podcasts, and if anybody is doing podcasts on video, aka the vodcast. Right? I know that's not a word yet, but now that I said it, if Renee tells everybody that we're officially calling it vodcast, then I'll get my wish, and vodcast it shall become. So let's see if we can pull that off. All right? So we're counting on you, Renee. It's up to you to make the vodcast become the podcast. All right. Let's get it twisted. Gang. Here we go. We're going to talk about it. First of all, I see that Renee is here, so I just got to say hello to Renee. Brother, you know what, Renee? Send me your address. I'll send you some Kona coffee. It's funny to you guys, Kona coffee is super expensive in the rest of the world. Here, it's not expensive at all, so I would definitely send you some Kona coffee. Just send me a DM with your address. I'll get it in the mail for you. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to start this right now. Why in the heck did this bad boy decide it wanted to be on the last slide and not the first? See, even us professional people, we get like crazy stuff happening. Hold on. This is weird. And it's not letting me go back to the beginning. All right, let's delete that and put it back. Hey, things happen. Let me check this PDF real quick. Hold on, guys. We may have ran into a problem, and we did. Way to go, Canva. Canva exported my situation with one slide and one slide only. Sound like a Jay-Z song. No, we want all slides, ding dong. There you go. Thank you, Canva. I appreciate you. Anyway, so we're going to talk about it. If you're generating your podcast, one of the things that I talked about on the latest episode of the podcast, the Creator 50 podcast, if you haven't caught it already, is at creator50.com, is that many people are kind of deciding, okay, I want to do this on the YouTube channel because podcasts are coming to YouTube. Like, I don't care whether you believe me or not. Trust you me. I didn't even ask Susan. I just know that it's coming. It's coming very soon. Why in the heck? All right, we're going to do this. We're going to fix this. Who cares? We're just going to roll with it the way it works and hope that they're in somewhere the right order. If not, I'll adjust the conversation accordingly. Anyway, so YouTube is about to get into the podcast game. And once they do that, trust you me, it's going to be like cockroaches with the light on. Everybody's going to come running. Why? YouTube, number one, search capability, right? One of the problems with podcasts as we exist today is that search engines don't do a good job of indexing podcasts. Like, they're all over the map. The other thing, if you listen to the Hive podcast with Jared Speak that I was on a couple of days ago, one of the things we talked about is just the brokenness between the various podcast apps, right? So for instance, if you use Marco's app, it's different from, say, the Apple app is different from the way Spotify works, is different from the way Amazon works. Like, they're all slightly good and slightly broken. I myself have gone from Castro to Overcast to, I forget the other one that was Downcaster. And then you know where I'm at now? It sounds crazy. I'm back in the plain Jane All-American Apple Podcast apps. It's missing some of the features that the other ones have, but yeah, so apps are messed up. When we get the podcast tab on YouTube, what does that bring to the table? A sense of normalcy, really. A sense of something that we're all used to and kind of knows what it looks like and kind of understand how it works. The other thing that brings to the table is a very, very effective, search engine. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So let me show you something real quick, because just so you guys don't think that I'm losing my mind, I'm going to press this real quick just to tell you it's coming. It's coming. Also, they have just started putting out the call for YouTube creators to bring their podcast to YouTube. They put like a $300,000 bounty. It's a small amount, but they do this stuff in the beginning to see how it's working. They need a couple guinea pigs. And so for the guinea pigs, they're looking to pay upwards of $300,000 for a podcast right now. So trust you me, it's coming, just so you guys don't think I'm crazy. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes. So first of all, you know what we say around this parts. We know, family, we know. I can't do that. I can't, my thing. Yeah, whatever. Your excuse is valid. 100% valid. We agree with you. But what? You still got to do it. So let's get after it, right? All right. One of the first things you cannot do, if you, like, the huge mistake, I did it, it was tragic, is basically auto-posting your audio-based podcast directly to YouTube. Okay, Doc, what do you mean by that? Applications out there, Podbean, BuzzFeed, I think Captivate actually took it away because Mark knows better. What's it? Spreaker, one of those. I hate that name. Most of these podcast apps that allow you to basically deliver your pod, they have a button to auto post your episode to YouTube. It basically just throws your podcast art as a thumbnail and it puts your podcast on YouTube as is. Nah, fam. Nah. Like, don't do that. That is not dissimilar from sticking the Willie Johnson into an electric socket. Like, and even if you don't have one, that's the equivalent of sticking somebody else's Johnson into the electric socket. Don't do it. It's not a good look. It won't be fun for anyone. And it doesn't do well. Let's just start there. It doesn't do well. Yeah, like I had so many people like running away from my channel when I thought I was cute with that mess. So please do not do that. It's not the way to go. Definitely do not use your podcast aggregator to auto post your podcast. It's silly, and you can go on YouTube right now and find a bunch of people who've done it. It just doesn't work. Most of the times the thumbnail just doesn't even drag you in because the thumbnails are designed to look good on Apple Podcasts or Castro or something of that nature, right? So don't do that. All right, now here's something that you can do instead, right? I don't want to just give you the what not to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. Take your pod and chop it up and turn it into the video highlights of the pod. Use your YouTube channel as a discovery mechanism to the podcast, or do a deeper dive in video on your YouTube channel that highlights an episode. Okay, so let's say in my last episode, I'm talking about, Shat's Deli up in Montreal, right? I could have been talking about it on my podcast, but, hey, I'm not the arbiter of, dope pastrami and bologna sandwiches. So I'll call up Renee. Hey, Renee, I need you to come on. I just did the podcast talking about, food scene in Montreal. Holla at your boy. So I could bring on a guest and then highlight the podcast, and we're talking about it, but bring in another person, something that doesn't show well on the audio version, or go deeper on something that requires a visual statement, right? So I could be telling people about how Descript is a fantastic application for editing, but you need the video side in order to do it its justice. So you take your pods and generate a video from that, or just generate highlights from your podcast, add B-roll, add some little juice to it, give it the flavor. You know what I'm saying? All right. Another opportunity for you, and I see a lot of people doing this now, is take elements of the podcast and put it in the shorts. Super fantastic. Just a week ago, Jared took one of the things that we did on the podcast, and he made a Instagram reel out of it. Instagram, bam. And then from that, he added that reel, and that reel plays and is basically taking it and turning it into a highlight. If you go see our homegirl, Nikki Saunders, she does a fantastic job of taking elements from her podcast and turning it into shorts and reels and things of that nature. So that is another opportunity out there for you, is to take your pod and generate some type of video shorts or reels out of it. And internet, like, what are you doing? When I press buttons, you do it. Okay, so let me show you real quick. This is your man's Jared's right here. And then this is the podcast, right? So one of the shorts, this one right here, is a audiogram. And if you could hear the audio, the person talking is some dude named Doc. Come to your phone automatically. And that's great. It's also bad, because we were talking about the accuracy of your data. There are people who get really, really good download numbers because when someone first started getting into podcasts, they subscribed to the 5 that were on the top of the app just because they wanted to see what it was. They don't even listen to those anymore. They just download to their phones. And I know this because I helped a friend free up some space on their phone, and it had 57 gigs of podcasts in an iPhone. All right. So that's one way to do it right there, right? That's taking your pod and generating it into a short. That's more of an audiogram level short. I'll show you a video level short like right now. Similar style, but this is genius. Shoutcasting and ice casting all back in the day. Keeping it on brand. And I was an early on person because I was in radio at the time and was looking for a way to get out of that. Oh, yes. I've had my own personal podcast before. It was actually called Podcast. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by taking your pod and generating some sort of video shorts out of, right? That just helps. Or know you're going to do it for video and generate it soup to nuts as a vodcast on purpose, right? I think of Talib Kweli. I think of artists formerly known as Joe Rogan. I think of Colin and Samir, like people who they're going to do their podcast as a vodcast from the gate. You set it up that way. So kind of build your situation accordingly and then see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? That is the effort that we're looking at right here. All right, let's get into the next one you shouldn't do. Your podcast needs action. Okay, so one of the disadvantages of just picking up the post or doing an auto post or whatever is 9 times out of 10, what these guys were doing, were just giving you a thumbnail. Some of them got cute and they would add the little waveform moving across the bottom when you would watch it on YouTube. Most cases, that wasn't automatic. We had to take it, get it, download it, open it up in After Effects, add a waveform just in order to give it some action. So yeah, don't do that. If you don't have video to support, you don't have a place for a video studio, but you still want to do this, you're going to have to invest in story blocks. You're going to have to invest in Artlist or, something of that nature so that you can put B-roll video on it. What that's going to stop you, though, is you're not going to be able to have that hour-long podcast. Well, you can, but your editing is going to be crazy because you're going to spend a lot of time hunting for B-roll to try to keep it, relevant. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the same token, this is a deep one, family. This is a deep one. I'm going to need you to, at this time, get out your Sharpie, get out your pad, and write it down. You're kind of not going to want to do what I did for the first episode over on Creator 50 on YouTube. You're probably not going to want to do that, right? So just to go ahead and correct myself, I shot it doing the podcast with the camera, and I'm just sitting here. What I didn't do was take this top-down camera, face it at my face over here, take another camera down here, face it at my hands where there's maybe notes or something like that, and then have the camera switch through. I did add a little bit of action by having the scenes change, so it's not just a standard scene. The scenes are changing automatically, but you're going to probably want a little bit more action. So as I plan out the podcast in the future, I'll go get the B-roll from Story Blocks, Envato Elements, Artlist. I got all of them joints, Adobe, get it ahead of time, and then build those scenes in Ecamm so that I can go to those B-rolls when I need to go to those B-rolls, or go to the websites when I need to go to the websites. What that will do, number one, cut your editing time down. Number two, that level of action works because nobody really wants to sit there and just listen to somebody just talk at them straight without any movement for a while. So your vodcast does need some action, and it is on you to come up with a couple different ways to do that. Sometimes it's just changing camera angles. It doesn't have to be complicated, but don't take the lazy route of just posting up your camera, turning it on, and call yourself recording a podcast by talking at the camera. And I don't think that's going to be enough. It's a good way to start. And yeah, if that's going to be your hurdle to stop you from doing it, do that, because that's what I did. I just wanted to get it out. But know that you're going to have to start adding a little bit of oomph to it every couple of times. You can't just leave it like that. A lot of people get into a situation of stasis and then they can't get out. Yo, Mr. Kenny, get at me, fam. And let's get started. Let's make it happen. I'm definitely with you, and you got the skills to pay the bills already. You got the video on demand cast already happening, sort of, right? I'm in my Nebula app all the time. And what Renee is talking about when you say a video on demand cast, one of the things that Renee was able to do with his content for YouTube is take them and make them beefier and put them on a private service like Nebula, right? Which a bunch of creators got together and they made their own VOD on demand service. The level of the videos on Nebula aren't just them picking up the YouTube video and moving it on a different service. That's what I mean by you got to add a little extra something. That is almost in the same conversation of taking your podcast and then just dropping it without doing anything extra. You have to make the call to the YouTube channel different enough from the audio version that people would want to go there. Same thing with like taking the video about the iPad being broken, putting it on YouTube. You also, when you move it to Nebula, you got to add a little sauce, a little back end, a little deeper detail, bloopers maybe, something of that nature. It could just be pre-show, run show, talk to your audience before you go live, like things like that. That's just going to make that happen. Let me get to the rest of these slides. We're almost done. Now, this is the last one, is you cannot lazy post. Family, pay attention, okay? You cannot lazy post. I did this and it was STEWPITT stupid. Like, do not lazy post. What do I mean by that? Thumbnail, title, post, couple of links. The repetitive links from your auto load. You have to, this is going to be searchable, gang. Okay? I'm going to say this again. I want y'all to see all the way down into my soul. Your podcast are going to be searchable on YouTube as soon as YouTube puts the podcast dedicated button, and we know it's coming. So therefore, take the time and make a good description. I really want to say take the good time and make a good SEO description, but the minute I say SEO, some of y'all just walk to the bathroom because you feel like you don't know how to do it. Guess what? I don't know how to do it, but I don't care. I use Surfer SEO. It does it for me. You know what I mean? You're going to want to make good descriptions. And now we got services like Jasper and Copy.ai, or this other one that Rob's always talking about, whose name escapes me, but Rob will write it in the chat. You have things that can help you write descriptions. Ask someone in your family to help you write descriptions. Make sure you get Uncle Ray's podcast. Get Uncle Ray's, podcast, but get his copywriting book and make descriptions that will make your search capability work better. And same thing with the lazy post. And again, you're going to want to do what I did. Go to the script, have it generate a proper caption. Those proper captions, when you add them to the video on YouTube, they are searchable by the search index, right? So everything you said in your podcast is SEO search friendly. You don't have to buy the script. You should. DocRock.live/the script. Get your man some affiliate game. You know how we do. But you don't have to buy the script. You can write it by hand, but you want a full transcription. The other thing about lazy posts, and I did this before too, Eileen, I'm going to assume you might have tried it because we all did back in the day. Take the transcript and just paste it in the YouTube description and call it a day. Don't do that. Don't do that. We used to do that all the time back in the day. Somehow YouTube knows that because it's too matchy to the video and they think that's keyword stuff and they'll actually slap you for it. So don't do that. So main thing is proper titles, proper descriptions, and also go and get a real deal SRT file. Other words, a closed caption file, because a lot of people will be listening to your podcast with maybe the volume lower and maybe just have it ambient on the TV, but they need to look back to see what you said. But then also it really does help you with your search, and it's good for compliance with ADA. So yeah, do your thing all the way through. Don't lazy post. And family, first slide, last slide. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got to do. So let's cover it real quick, real quick. First of all, your excuse is valid. We're not going to tell you it's not, but you still got to do what you got to do anyway. So step through it. Okay. Don't auto post. Don't let your podcast hosting app tell you, oh, we'll automatically post to YouTube. Tell them to fall back, homie. Fall back. Okay. If you want to do something juicy, take your pod, create video highlights, take your pods, create shorts. If you're going to do a video vodcast, do a vodcast on purpose, right? Set yourself up, scenes, angles, B-rolls, bumpers, the whole nine, like build yourself a show. Like the original Oprah show was a legit vodcast in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Okay, your video needs action. Don't just have a stagnant camera posted up somewhere. Make sure you got some movement. Movement keeps people engaged. It is what it is. You need something exciting like that, to catch your attention, right? And don't lazy post. Make sure you got titles, descriptions, SEO friendly description in there. Make sure you have your closed caption file and all of the above. And that, my friends, is that. That is that. Let's get over into the question and answer series. Eileen says, sort of did a vodcast on Spotify. Spotify video podcasts are broken AF. I don't know why, they just are. What's up, Todd? Hey, how you doing there? Hot tub lady. It's like Jamaican costs us a fortune. Yes, very true. And the first time I was in Seattle, like when Starbucks just opened and I had some Jamaican blue coffee, it was so good. But that crap was like 26 bones a pound. Jay Nice says, I have a podcast and recorded all via video as I record for iTunes. Okay, now Jay Nice, we need to talk about this. Are you doing video on purpose, or are you just trying to like cover two birds with one stone? That's one thing about us creators, especially please don't at me, bro. Okay, a lot of these people are my friends, but I'm gonna just go ahead and tell the truth because I do. My creators who are also marketing people, the marketing tribe, you know who I'm talking about. I'm looking directly at some of y'all. Y'all try to do the most with the least, right? And I get it because you're busy. So you're famous for, let me record this as a video, take the audio, slap it as a podcast, take this and slap it as a reel, take this and make it a newsletter, make it a blog post. Yeah, I get it. Yes, you should repurpose content. Some content has to be made on purpose for the platform that it's going for. So don't just do the lazy marketing thing and just try to do the one piece for the same stuff every place. It doesn't work, and people get irritated. Just trust me, they do. That's why you guys always get yelled at by regular folks. In the process of doing a vodcast on Spotify. All right, fam. All right, cool. That is it. Curtis says, been doing a vodcast for a little while now. In fact, deleted much of my other content over 90 videos and started a new one with existing subscribers, always learning. You know what's super funny, Curtis? That's what I talked about in the episode over on Creator 50, is I talked about whether you should nuke and pave a channel or by just say, oh, let me fix this. Not necessarily nuke and pave it. Whether you should take it and stick it on your current channel as is and just full hard pivot, or if you should make a new channel. So that it's kind of funny that you say that. Hold on. I went for the former rather than the latter. I went for just make a whole brand new channel, and there it is. Boom, there's a new channel. It has all of, I can't see from that side, a whole of 16 subscribers and 5 views in this week. Yay, we're getting there. We're getting there. But, you know, don't pay attention to those vanity metrics. Just do. It probably won't make any difference until we're like episode 50. All right. Yes, what's up, Todd? Sammy, thank you for the super chat. Bro. No, I don't mind getting distracted by Renee. Yes, exactly. No problems, only opportunities for badass recoveries. 100%. That's a new Jay-Z song. And Sammy is Jayz. Come on, fam. You're talking about royalty. Wouldn't it be cool if YouTube gave us oh, it's coming. It is absolutely coming, Eileen. I put hardcore money on it. And I agree with Renee. They're going to start recruiting bigger podcast people to come over. Like, for instance, if they were smart, they would have already locked up with somebody like Talib Kweli or, you know, Colin and Samir or whoever, who has been doing this for years on their channel, right? You know, Michael, we have to look at your channel and see how many subs you got. I think if you tell your subs ahead of time this is what you're fixing to do, they will listen. I think what a lot of creators don't do, and we talk about this all the time in the Drop Squad in my private class sessions, we talk about your channel is not your channel. People hate me when I say that. I don't even know if Melanie's listening right now and she gets mad at me when I say that, but I'm kidding, Mel. Your channel's not your channel. It don't belong to you. Once you get past about 50, 100 subscribers, your channel belongs to them. So you got to ask them for permission to do anything. It is what it is. And I don't think creators do that because they, you know, we get into this like ownership thing and it's not it. You know, the stores that do really well or the companies that do really well, they do really well by constantly conversating with their clientele. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's it. With you, Camera Junkie, I definitely listen to more podcasts and podcasts. And I mentioned that in the episode is that I feel like those people are keeping me company while I'm doing some stuff in the house. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Oh, she's here. She's going to yell at me. Sorry, Mel. Love you. Yes. Let's look. Michael, hit me up, man. Let's talk. I'll see if I can help you out. Mr. Buck is here for a good show because he does 2 of his podcasts as vodcasts on purpose, right? And then is picking up the audio and moving it. He does it not backwards, probably the correct way, right? I believe you should make your video on purpose. And then when you go to bring it to the audio side, bless it. Give it a little music intro, a little different. Put in some things where things matter. I kind of did that. I recorded it as a video, but I edited both. I edited the video and I edited the audio. I think it might end up becoming where I don't have live permissions on this channel yet. It was going to take some time. So it might come up where it's recorded live as a video on the YouTube side, and then we chop it up and put it on. So on Twitch, which we're talking all the way back to Apple TV 1, right? That was how it's always been done. I say we have been there many times, but yeah. Even for British Tech Network, we would record the live video. And it's live, got the IRC chat room open, and we're talking to everyone, having a good time, whatever. But what we put out as the cast gets chopped up and is missing a lot of that fourth wall banter, right? And it just becomes the tightness of it. So if you want a masterclass on a live video recording becoming a video podcast and an audio podcast, watch Nabout Anything from the Twit Nation, and you're in there. Buck nasty. Why, yes, there is, Mr. Kenny. It is on, let me get you the long link because I'm not able to change it to Creator 50 just yet, but it is coming, and it is coming soon. As soon as we get to 100, actually, I don't know why I try to make it like that. There we go. Link is now in there, and then of course I will come back and link in the description. Man, this is crazy, Eileen. One of the things that's always drove me nuts about Libsyn from way back when, which is why, holy goodness, thank you, Eileen, for this point, which is why I started out making my podcast on YouTube in the first place, was because it used to be crazy expensive to put longer form podcasts on Libsyn, but YouTube was free. So that's why a bunch of us did it, and it was just whacked up. All right, I'm Tech for your needs. I want you to remember that I love you. I want you to remember to stay here, and I want you to remain my friend, but I'm about to hurt all of your feelings. I'm going to contradict myself right now. Do not start a podcast with the intention of monetizing it in the traditional sense. Asterisks. That's not an asterisk. What the heck is this? This is not an asterisk. This is scratching your balls. Oh, I don't know how to do an asterisk. Anyway, so let's asterisk this statement. This is a good point, by the way. Start the podcast because it's in your purpose. Like, it's in your purpose to get you towards your mission, and then you'll be fine. Purpose is analgesic. If you watch this channel for more than 13 seconds, at some point in time, Doc will say that purpose is an analgesic. Purpose doesn't get in the way of not having enough time. Purpose doesn't get in the way of not having the right equipment. Purpose doesn't get in the way of tired. Purpose don't have no excuses. When you're on purpose, you just don't care. Don't believe me? Watch any animal, mammal, human, or whatever on a mission to protect their kids. Look at the dumb stuff they will do, right? So, yeah, purpose is important. And if you start any sort of creative endeavor for the sole purpose of making money, you're probably going to fail because money chasing causes you to do dumb stuff. Now, the asterisk of it is as follows. Immediately, any affiliate stuff that you can do, put that in your show notes. Amazon links or whatever, that kind of monetization is fine. Affiliate stuff, having a digital product or something that people can buy, that kind of stuff is fine. But thinking that you're going to get enough downloads where somebody's going to share ad revenue with you and stuff like that, nah, don't do that. Not yet. Make sure you get a good base going first. That stuff is later. There are some people making a living on podcasts, but even now, most of the B-level podcasters, I mean, not the I just got paid $100 million by somebody to be exclusive on this particular podcast host. The B-level podcasters, Renee ran a whole podcasting network, and he can tell you it ain't paying a lot, right? He had a whole podcast network with a bunch of cast on it, and he can tell you right now it ain't paying a lot. It's not paying what you think it's paying. It takes a lot to get to that. But the standard traditional monetizations that we always talk about here on LGO with your affiliates, with your Buy Me a Coffee, your Patreon, stuff like that, those are fine. But don't think ads are going to just pay you jack. Not going to happen. I need Brock to show up because then between Keely and Michael and Brock, I have a handful of Canadians in my show. Yes, tell them again, Camera Junkie, for the folks in the back, right? A vodcast is more about the video. Very good, very good. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, family. Yes, thank you. That is very true. I think that the Waveform Show is one of the better video podcasts on the joint right now, bar Twit. I love Twit. I've watched every show since way. Do you know they had episode 808? This is super funny. I was on the Sunday prior to the Tuesday of the filming of episode 808. I was on This Week in Tech. And a whole bunch of people from Twit Nation hit me up and was like, yo, Doc, you should be on episode 808. You should be on episode 808. I'm not the guy that's going to call them and be like, yo, let me on episode 808. Come to find out, my friend Renee took a vacay that day and the slot would have been open. So I could have been on episode 808. You don't understand what that means? 808 is the area code for Hawaii. So it's funny. I think they're on like 810 right now, but I missed a chance to be on episode 808 because I didn't want to pull a Sammy and just call them. What I should have, because they were sitting there by themselves and it would have been fun. It just would have been fun. So yes. Yes, creator50.com is the main joint, Paul. But of course, you can find my podcast anywhere podcast getting is got. And if you're not quite 41, you still can listen to it. There's probably some stuff you can learn. But my target audience is basically 41 plus, aka Gen X plus. But hey, don't worry. You know, some of us just have baby face like Renee and Michael. Something about the air up there in Canada. What's up, Billy? Good to see you here. What's up, Vaughn? Good to see you here. All right, let me pile through these. CCC. What up, Jamie? Speaking about old and good looking. What's up, Jamie? Yes, good. Oh my God, Mel, good point. Video previews and stuff like that. That's another fantastic way to get people to your show. Yes, pay attention to what Jared is doing. He is a master at the micro content. I really love what he's doing. Headliner is good, but I'm going to agree with Eileen. I would probably just use Canva. Canva is good. I like the ones that's built into script, but it doesn't have the graphic way I like it. So I would actually probably do it more with Canva. I think Canva's a little bit more juicy with that. Also, if you haven't stepped your game up to Canva, talk about monetization. Hey, docrock.live/Canva. Get your mans. I mean, the first person to sign up for Canva on my account, I'm going to call you and give you a big hug. Eileen says, my plan is to wait and see how YouTube will segregate podcast content. I hope they don't expect every podcast at a second. No, they don't. Okay, let's just cover this. It would be beyond stupid of them to do that. It also would create a nightmare on their server. But I just did it anyway because I know what can happen is when we get the tab, by that time I'll be like maybe 15 videos deep. I can pick these up, move them back to the regular channel and stick them under the tab and then close this channel. You don't listen to the episode, then you understand. I'm not telling you to go make a new channel. I did it as not to irritate you guys because I tell you guys are my algorithm, right? I made it a separate channel not to irritate you guys. But it would be super stupid of them to think everybody's going to get a separate channel. So I don't think that's going to happen. No, I don't think you can pull B-roll from Canva like that. Read your license again. I don't think that's a real deal thing. Rich says, hoping YouTube adds podcasts like Facebook does. Yes, Facebook, if you don't know yet, gang, there is a thing called Meta for Creators, or there's another thing called Meta for Podcasts. You can go do a search on it. You can get yourself set up. You can have your podcast piped directly into Facebook, which might be good. Yes, so key factor right here is very important to take the time to optimize. It is what it is. Yes, Jasper helps a lot with descriptions. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you. You can follow a page without following a podcast. Eileen says, Rich, Eileen does listen to podcasts on Facebook. That's funny. Right? Descript and Jasper are part of my starting 5 too. Canva, I'm about 2 apps short. Ecamm. Okay, so Descript, Jasper, Canva, Ecamm, and I need Ecamm is the center. So Ecamm is Kareem, Elijah Wan. I need one more player from my starting 5. Ecamm is the center, or is Ecamm the point guard? I think Ecamm is Steph Curry with the Rock. All right, come on now. Somebody finish my application basketball team, right? I think Final Cut would be it for me, but for most traditional creators, it's probably not Final Cut. But I'm going to take Ecamm from center and move Ecamm to point guard because Ecamm is definitely Steph Curry with the Rock. So I need one more app for my ball team. Yeah, Michael, 100%, fam. So if you go back to what I was saying, and please do watch an episode of Mac Break Weekly. We're talking 15 years deep. I know that it was one of the first things I added to Apple Video Podcasts on my Apple TV 1, like way back in the Disney Apple TV 1. I remember going to put that on. Also, Revision 3, I don't know if you remember that back in the day with Patrick Norton and the gang, right? Roger Chang, right? Sarah, like that was the original OG stuff. So I started creating video podcasts back then. I was on a network called British Tech Network for roughly about 13 years. And yeah, we always recorded it as a live show. That live was being streamed at that time. You didn't have, YouTube streaming yet, right? So we streamed it live directly on our page through application like Justin TV or Ustream. And so you would watch it sort of built into the site, and then you could get the video download or the podcast later via iTunes or Apple TV. Yeah, you absolutely can start it as a live stream and as a matter of fact, that's what Tom Buck does. Tom and Heather, they record the couple tables as a live stream, and Tom does Enthusiasm podcast also as a live stream and then chop it up. It's not unsolicited. What the word is? Unlisted. It may have been just a typo. Autocorrect. Yeah, I don't know about that. I just went public anyway because it doesn't matter. Like, no one's going to pay attention to it until I start pointing to it. Oh, that was another thing. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up, G. Don't expect people to just find your podcast. You got to put a little bit of work into marketing it and telling kin folks where you be at. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to work that good if you do that. I got you, Michael. Paul is my gatekeeper though. I'm doing it on purpose. Okay, thank you. I got you. Got all the angles. Oh, dang it. All right, everybody, come back in. Pencils back out. I forgot a very important thing. Thank you, Janice, for reminding me. And I talked about it in the episode. And this actually came from one of our very own team members, Carly, because she has seen a lot of people starting to make this a transition into vodcast as a live stream. And so Janice just said something very important is adding the B-roll, additional camera angles and whatever. What I just did, I almost jacked up the #1 cardinal sin. Okay, so now I gotta dominus, ominous, dominus. I catch the bus, you catch the bus. I gotta forgive my sins. Okay. Never put a comment on the screen and then go, and then, okay, Janice, yeah, you're right. If it's going to become an audio podcast, never do that. If you're going to put a comment on the screen because you're going to do it as an audio podcast, you're going to have to say, okay, here's a good question from Raphael Ludwig. Raphael says, happy Saturday. What does he mean by that? Happy Saturday. You're going to have to explain it. You're going to have to like read it all the way through. Okay. Very, very, very important. Right. And yeah, just important. Just make sure that if you are in the process of doing a podcast that will be also chopped up audio, so like Michael Kinney, recording it as a live stream and then turning it into a podcast, make sure if you put the comment on screen, you read it all the way through. The other thing is, write this down too. Please do not write this down. This is just so important. I've done millions of interviews. Okay, it's closer to 3,000. But whenever you do an interview, and we used to do it as a B camera interview, what you always do is you go to the person and you say, I'm going to ask you a question. When I ask you this question, please repeat the question and then give your answer. Some of you guys have been interviewed in the past from the B camera interview team, and you've heard this before. If you haven't, write it the hell down. Super, 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 super important. You must always repeat the question and then answer it. I'll tell you why. When you go to put this together as a video, as an audio podcast, there'll be no context, right? So if I'm like, Kelly's my person, and I just went like this, and then I were like, oh, probably about 30%. I would say 30% of the population does that, Kelly. The people at home listening would be like, 30% what did what? So, again, as the host, it's up to you. How many people watch video as opposed to just listen like YouTube as a podcatcher? Fantastic question, Kelly Vermont. She's one of our fantastic listeners from PDX, Rip City, represent. Kelly, it is, in my opinion, the amount of people that watch a video podcast as opposed to ambiently watch a podcast like I do is probably around 20-30%. I myself will put a podcast on because Tom and Heather are keeping me company while I'm doing the laundry or cleaning the house or, polishing my Funko Pops. Right, I have them on, and I'll run over to the keyboard to say something wise to Tom and Heather in the middle. But for the most part, they're just keeping me company, so I'm not home by myself. So good question, Kelly. Guys, if you haven't been following Kelly, make sure you find her at Verso on all the socials, whatever. That is a good way to do it, right? So make sure that you are doing your thing. Annette, good to see you here, Ma. This is what I'm transitioning to. A live streaming video podcast with Q&As for the guests, just published as a live stream. Todd, first of all, I got to thank you. I owe a big thank you to both Todd and Rich Graham because I had hit a brick wall with Creator 50, mostly out of a mental block, actually more in a depression style block. And Rich told me that my dad would have wanted me to finish the episode that I was editing when he passed, so stop sitting on it and let it out. Dad would have wanted me to sit on it. Rich is 100% correct. So thank you, brother, for, coming to my rescue when I needed it. And then Todd and I made a pact that we were going to both just knock the dust off of something that was holding us back. And I say, okay, Todd, let's just get a Rip the Band-Aid date. And so we said March 16th or whatever. And I was in San Diego at the time. And I remember when I got home, I was looking in my Instagram and I saw, Todd's name in the DM. And I was like, damn, I'm a couple of days late, but I'm going to do it. And so I did it. So Todd and I decided to just give us a hard date to rip the Band-Aid and get back to work on something that we were both sitting on for whatever reason. And yeah, big ups to Rich for giving me the, I hate the word inspiration, but giving me the foot up my ass to remind me that my dad wouldn't want me to sit on the episode because he definitely wouldn't have. So thank you, Rich. And I'm not going to cry on YouTube again. I recorded interviews, but primarily as an audio podcast. I know video and audio have different process, but if you do this, you don't do the same for each, right? it's kind of the same. Like, you can do it the same, but yeah. I can help you. We'll talk about that in class today, Kelly, because that's a good idea. And Janice, to your point, do you have a master class or do you offer? Yes, I do as individual consulting, or you can just join the Drop Squad and then we get into this kind of thing. We can talk about it there. But yeah, I definitely can do that. So again, not short dick the message. Do you have a master? Janice says, do you have a master class or do you offer consult to this? My vodcast is enough for me to get this started in the right way. I'm 6 videos in. There you go. Boom. And Keely gave the answer to how to book one-on-one coaching session. Yes. Kelly, zip your face. Kelly said Todd contradicted himself. Yeah, that's a hard one, man, because it's true, right? Like, if you just go into this as I just want to make money, it's not going to work. No business that I just want to make money ever works. It just doesn't. Even like if you want to go sling bags of weed on the corner, you have to do it with a certain level of purpose. It's not going to work. I just want to sell these weeds and make my money and dip. It doesn't work that way. Hannity, good to see you, Ma. Glad to see you back in there. Thank you, Michael. Let's go. I appreciate you, brother. Michael just subscribed to the Creator 50 channel. Do I have any fun stuff to play for that? Boom. Let me switch to this one.
How you like that?
There you go. I needed that button. All right. Just get a real niche audience and crush some sponsor relationships. Also, very good idea. The more niche your thing, just like anything else, your podcast, your vodcast have to be sort of niche out. Thank you, Renee. Oh, I love it. I'm so happy that he said that. So just doing stuff on YouTube, just so you know how bad money making on the podcast level is at that level. Just doing YouTube's video alone would definitely pay you more than podcasting. So yes, this is where your buy me a coffee, your Patreon, your what is it called? Self-starter is like a Kickstarter plugin you can get for your WordPress. This is where this does better. I'm ignoring that, Kelly. Some podcasts like Gruber's, The Talk Show, or ATP do really well in terms of like 3x the sponsor spots per show. Yes, those are outliers. I agree 100%. Those are all really good tech podcasts for any of my nerd people out there. Troy, good to see you here, fam. Troy. Oh, yes. Yes, man, I missed that. Todd, in hip hop days in Hawaii, we loved it every time a song would say, and the 808 kick drum, make the girlies get them posses on Broadway. That was Seattle. But yeah, we always loved it. Rob is a boomer. How interesting. I'm a huge fan of MKV, but not a fan of his podcast. I wanted to be so bad, but I skipped every time and just finally gave up. There you go. I tell you all the time, yeah, they might say no, but what if they don't? 100%. Yes, 808 was the key drum machine, the Roland 808. Fantastic documentary, by the way. If you guys want to see a masterpiece in documentary, go look up the 808 documentary. It talks about the beginning of hip hop and all of the above. Boom. Okay, Renee says, hosting video podcasts outside of YouTube can also be problematic. Audio podcast costs are trivial, but we're paying like $10K a month for video hosting at 10% of the audio size. That's craziness. So this is what is funny. You know, back in the day, right? Like hosting on YouTube is basically free no such thing as free. But you know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's an idea to keep your video on there because what killed me on my video podcast is I was also doing Vimeo Pro, and when Vimeo Pro started going by weight, it got expensive real quick, and it kind of helped me step out of it. Wrong, Mr. Camera Junkie, wrong. 808 is the drum. 808 was a rolling drum machine. It's called the 808 Rhythm Machine. The 808 Rhythm Composer. Let's get it completely correct. It was the drum machines were 808 for hip hop, 929 for the rap and beat, 626 for your basic like pop music sort of flair, Lynn drums, things like that. But yes, 808 was a drum. If the content is similar to what I have on my main channel, if it's way off top, separate channel. There you go. Good idea. And again, I think as long as you let your audience know what you're doing, you're trying, they might be cool with it. Because like Heather, they do the couples table on her channel. There's not a couples table channel, but it's a known quantity and you still go there. So yeah, I think it doesn't have to be a separate channel. You just need to make sure your audience is down for the brown. Boom, boom, boom. Why a separate channel versus playlist on your current channel? Fantastic question. Now, again, in my particular situation, my YouTube channel doesn't matter in the sense of this channel here doesn't matter in the sense of it would break the algorithm and mess up my ad revenue and things like that because I don't care. That's not me. That's not my thing. In a situation like Renee, where you're sitting on 300,000 people deep and you just started putting it on the same channel, it could possibly break everything, right? There is a certain expectation of what you're going to get when you go to youtube.com/R2. It's actually Renee Ritchie, but I say R2. If you go to that, you're expecting to get a fantastic deep dive on why the iPad is broken. And Renee, nice trick question. I knew the answer was all three. I was there at the time. Yeah, if all of a sudden Renee did a BJJ podcast on his Renee Ritchie channel, it would probably absolutely 115% F up his channel. Because hardcore fan of Renee, love my brother to death. Love what he talks about when it comes to the tech and stuff like that. I like BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, sorry. I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm not that deep into it. All of my friends are. It's big in Hawaii. It's like 2/3 of the Gracies live here. So there's a bunch of Gracie gyms and stuff. If you don't see, now we're getting deep into the BJJ stuff, right? So it can go super sideways while he's talking about doing rolls and stuff. And yeah, it just won't match the tech. So kind of to Raphael's point, if it's super sideways, no. If your channel is relatively new, not super big, you don't have like say more than 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, you might get away with it. And a playlist would perfectly work. We're thinking when we get the podcast button, Michael, we're thinking it will be similar to a playlist, but it will allow you to subscribe to the podcast directly and not necessarily the channel. Because I might be really into the BJJ podcast and I might not want to hear the Mac stuff because I might be a hard PC guy looking at Renee's channel because I found the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu side. So that's it. Fantastic question. Fantastic question. Boom, boom, boom. Silly. Oh my God, the new Adidas Dame shoes are fantastic. Yeah, I think it is FPX for me too, right? Oh, dude, right? Rev3 and Twit both came in on the TiVo. I remember when Twit, like when Leo, we were all in on TiVo. Like it was crazy. I sold TiVos in my store because of Leo. Like TiVo was crazy. I can see a live stream as a vodcast intro Q&A could be cut off, the rest edited into a video cast. 100%. 100%. So you can actually do it as two types of content on the same channel. And sort of in a way, Twitter is kind of like this. You can have the live recording as one of the things. It's on a separate playlist, right? This is going back into what Michael Kinney was saying. You could then have the edited, concise video as just a straight video, and then you could have the highlight reel as another video. So you could generate 3 pieces of content on the same channel about it, and yes, that would work. Again, you're going to have to talk to your audience. You're going to have to know your audience and see what it be like. Me too, brother. Me too. Parker, my man, sliding in the back door. What it is. Yeah, Alphonic is a substitute. It's not a heavy pillar, but it's in there. Oh man, Mike, don't tell him that. You're gonna get his his head so large it won't fit in the blue Fender case. You need to narrate your vodcast if you want to repurpose this pod. 100%. With video podcasts, you have to act like it's an audio podcast. Read the comments out loud and don't say as you see it. 100%. That is super true. I heard something the other day that Heather did, which was very good on her because sometimes she forgets. And so I've been meaning to remind her she has to remember to do it. But she caught herself the other day. She says, I'm doing this, and she's talking about it. And she said, her and Tom both said, oh, the people that are listening to this, they're not going to understand. I'm sorry, but I have to show this part. Please forgive me. So she gave a warning and an apology to the people and that was okay. I like that. I like when you do that. Most streamers neglect to read the comments as they put them on screen. I always read them. A lot of that has to do with some of us just being afraid to read the screen because we're going to be funny. Kelly, because we've been friends for how long? Go away. If you're as pretty as Doc Rock, 115% will watch the podcast. Riveted for the rest of us is like 5% max. Renee, I want to say you're wrong, but I listened to a lot of the Renee deep dives twice. One, because you go 100 miles an hour, but I like that because it's interesting to me. My ADD can stay attentive. And then the other time, I'll put it on ambiently in the background because I want to make sure I anchor in the facts for some of the facts you're bringing in, especially when you're talking about like dismantling what's going to happen in the M2 in the chorus, or you're talking about the SIC architecture and things like that. The first time I listen, I just listen. I'm watching all the graphics. I love all of the B-roll you're putting in there. The second time I'm listening to it, I am normally listening to it while I'm getting coffee, making a sandwich, doing something of that nature. But I'm listening again because I want to make sure the information that you speak about sticks in my head, because people in the Ecamm community will ask me and then I can answer their question. A lot of times I've learned it from people like yourself. You know what I mean? So I listened to it again a couple of times to hear it. Then I'm excited that you do it at the speed that you do it because it doesn't take so much time to hear it twice, right? On occasions, when you go super, super uber, like Thanos nerdy, see, I almost pulled a Renee joke. I have to, it was Palpatine all along. I have to listen to it thrice. That's the word I'm looking for, thrice. I love how Keely and Rob take turns of trying to come out with the most creative ways to put this in the chat. It is awesome. It is awesome. Oh man, I am way behind. I am way behind. Glenda, I honestly don't see your content as a podcast. You could talk about industry news as a podcast, but I don't see what you're doing as a podcast. It's very visual. It's very, very, very visual. Bonsoir or bonsoir. Wait, how come I pressed it and I missed Caleb's head? Caleb, aka Powder. Thank you, Jay. Nice. Janice, if you are going to join, please go through creatorcoach.live and not buy me a coffee. Just because buy me a coffee is broken right now. Made 10K, 400 total downloads. That was 100 episodes years ago, but I've been sponsored ever since. Yeah, if you set your show up in a way where you're getting the pitch, that's it. No. 105. How many episodes were you at, Billy, when you got to that? That's the curious nature of that. Yeah, it used to be all the filmmakers were there. It's super funny. In the beginning, Eileen, sorry, Vimeo does not support creators. Their target audience is enterprise. See, I almost did it. Sometimes you just get excited. It used to be that all the filmmakers, it started with like Philip Bloom back in the day. All of us filmmaker cats, all of us like Raphael Ludwig types, we all did our stuff on Vimeo because the quality was it was gorgeous in compared to YouTube, but they never did a good job of supporting us. And you had to pay like $50 to get them to like render your podcast faster or process, if you will. Yeah, it was whack. Mr. Gins, what's up, fam? Good to see you here, brother. See, they don't know. They don't know. They just don't know. Tell them, JFK Productions. Shout out to everyone who remembers the 808, the 909, the Lynn drums, and etc. Okay, Michael has a question with no cue, but we love you anyway. How can I tell if a particular YouTube community is being underserved or perhaps no community exists to speak of? That's a very difficult question to answer, but I tell you what I did. I realized that a whole bunch of people with a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills, say age 40 up, didn't think that there was a place for them to be creators because TikTok was for the kids and the kids were dancing, because YouTube was mostly beauty bloggers, gamers, and food people. And Instagram was just people sharing what they were eating for lunch, and at that time wasn't even a creator-oriented space. And as I saw this vacuum, and I heard lots and lots of people say, I want to get into doing this show, but I don't think that's right for me because, you know, I grew up in the 80s and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, there is not a lot of people talking about becoming a creator as a Gen X plus underserved community. But I looked at the statistics and saw the amount of signups to TikTok of 40 plus, and the hashtag over 40, hashtag over 50 on TikTok was booming, right? The signups onto YouTube at over 40, over 50 was booming. Same with Instagram. And I'm like, cool, nobody's talking about it, but these people are signing up because they're creator curious. Let me jump in. Let me bring my expertise to the table. That's it. So I just researched it. I just did the market research real quick. It wasn't that hard. There's places to look, right? Right? Social media marketing world, the Tilt. Just go look up social media statistics. Hootsuite, HubSpot, like TechCrunch. Lots of people were saying it, you know? Also, I'm an OG creator, right? Like before YouTube even existed, we were creating stuff already. Right? We were doing Justin TV and Ustream TV and Vidler and Daily Motion copied YouTube. That didn't work. But we were doing some of this stuff. Like I've been podcasting since before it was called podcasts. When you had to handwrite the XML and use Google Feeds in order to get it out there. So I look at, like Renee mentioned, some of the people, Jason Snell, John Gruber, Leo Laporte, Ewan Rankin, Kelly Kimott herself, me, my homegirl Patrice, like all of us, we were creating content before there was a place for content, but we're a very specific Mac, like tech creator community. But the muggles all started creating content when podcasts became podcasts. So Adam Carolla gets the nod as the first podcast, but that ain't true. I don't know why he gets that. My buddy Sean was doing a Mac radio show via his website probably 2 years before Adam even bought his first Corolla. Like way older. So yeah, I don't know how that story became that story, but as it is known as a podcast, that's sort of when it sort of happened. So yeah, I think you can go do the work and find out if the audience is for you, and then you can do it. I think it's a great question. It would break the audience, and the algorithm follows the audience. Yeah, I hate that audience, but yeah. I mean, I hate the algorithm, but yes. It'd be like Malcolm in the Middle mixing in Breaking Bad episode. Same actor, different audience. Oh, snap. Yes, sir. I got to clip this. That is fantastic, right? That is right. 100%. Same actor, different audience. Oh my God, that is delicious. But, and I'm with Camera Junkie, very true, but I might watch that mess. Channels are like shows. People expect the same show to be similar. If you want to do another show, no problem. Just put it on a different channel. It's a win-win for everybody. I kind of agree with that. Yes, Adam, I do believe that you will be able to subscribe to YouTube podcasts on something like Overcast or whatever. I think that's the problem right now. If you create your podcast on YouTube, there's actually a RSS feed for your YouTube channel. So you can already make it work that way. Most people just don't know how. It requires a couple other steps. But yeah, I think when we get the tab, that's the whole point. YouTube will not only be a podcast aggregator, it will also be a podcast player. We'll probably get a dedicated YouTube podcast app like we have YouTube Music app, because music was starting to dominate the YouTube space and it was irritating creators who were coming to learn algebra. So yeah, YouTube has all of this stuff down and they know what they're doing. So yes, I agree 100%. We will get the ability to subscribe directly. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I forgot about the TiVo bookends. Dang, you got me. You got me. Oh, I use Auphonic for every episode myself. Yeah, but I was thinking of something that I use more on an everyday basis. Earl Hall. Knowing what your audience wants is key. I made that mistake for a minute, not listening, and grew over 13,000. Yes, trust me, man. Think you're watching this podcast doesn't sound right to me, but you'll learn to live with it. I'm telling you, that's why I'm using vodcast, man. I'm using vodcast. Oh, I like this too. Thanks for being with us. Okay, let's go to Uncle Ray's copywriting lesson. Right? Again, if you're telling somebody things for watching, something of that nature, that requires them to remember to block out time, to remember to leave space, remember to do something, because watching is very active. When you say that someone is with us, you're giving them permission to have it playing in the background while they're doing something else. This is super subtle. Super subtle. But you think about it. When you give somebody the implicit permission to do what I do anyway, have Tom and Heather on, or have Luis is talking, or Keely is talking, and I'm doing some other stuff, that allows me. Dean is cooking. I'm in the kitchen cooking too, right? That allows me, because I'm getting that permission to hang with my homies, but not be like fully just sitting there staring at the TV. You know what I mean? I think in a way, if you do that, that language probably opens you up to more people to likely subscribe and stay, because they feel like they are part of the community, because you're saying being with. It's a subtle change. But if we're going to be talking about copywriting in the Drop Squad, hey, let's get after it. Keely, on point. She is on point. Oh my God. Film Girl is bananas. You know that when I first started doing, actually not I, when Kelly, myself, Mike Rose, the whole To Aloha. See, I was messing up. The whole 2 clan, Stina was with us back then. So we all used to get together every Sunday and just chat on this crazy thing called Talk Shoot, and it was super funny. So yes, I remember when she first broke out into her own grown-up self. I miss Film Girl. Haven't talked to her for a minute. Oh, there you go. For produced episode sponsor came in at 5. You know what's funny? When I did my Solid podcast, I started it with the sponsor, but it was super low budget. I was just like, I need to cover my costs for all this hosting and stuff. So just give me like $125 a month and we'll call it a day. And he was like, yeah, it was cool. Yeah, Vimeo is a mess, Mr. Kenny, but because you come from the space, I know. All of us who wanted that quality back then, that's where we were putting it. So you either had filmmakers or you had thespians putting their reels on Vimeo. And that's how Vimeo got big in the beginning. People that wanted that extra quality, right? So, yeah. Know about the 1600, just so you know. Thank you for ingesting my podcast. Adam, you're going to get sent to timeout already just for being goofball. That's super funny. No, I'm not ignoring your podcast. I'm not ignoring it at all. Kelly is super funny. Said, I thought you said ignoring my podcast. And I was like, yeah, I would say that too. That's super funny. I'm ignoring the crazy comments right now because when you say Gen X plus, somebody explain to me what the plus means. Discord is excellent, but it's a tough. So, all right, Adam, we don't speak like that around here. Let me finish the sentence so you guys can all hear. Discord is excellent, but it's a tough sell for us boomers and beyond. No, we don't talk like that around here. We just don't. That's like saying the toilet is a tough sell for boomers, right? There's so much new stuff that will come out that we just have to learn how to use. And the first thing we do is we take away blocking language from ourselves. Like, I don't know what it would be right now, but if some brand new device came out that was going to be super helpful and beneficial to everyone, make life better, like say we were going to finally get in-home robots a la, well, it wasn't Alice. Was it Alice on the Jetsons? Whenever that came to fruition, all of us, quote unquote, non-tech people, all of us, quote unquote, people of a certain vintage, whatever, thank you, Kelly, would end up wanting to get the house robot, especially if it did all the stuff that we didn't want to do. And you would learn that. So yeah, limiting belief does not work in your man's arena. I get super irritated at them because that's how people in power become gatekeepers and get control, is by secretly dropping the little limiting beliefs on people and having those people repeat that so they stay out of the way so that they can run circles around us in the back end. That's how we got into this mess right now, is having other people tell us about our limiting beliefs and how it works. Yes. There you go. I don't know about Sean King. Maybe it was Sean King, but I don't know. But yeah, Sean King was who I was talking about when I was talking about your Mac life. So 100%. But the original one wasn't even called Your Mac Life, if I remember, because he launched that while we were at Seabold. And I want to say he launched that while we were at Seabold back in like circa 92, 93, like that far back. Literally just recording audio and sticking it on his website. It's way old. I got to go check the dates now. See, you got in my head, Adam. Yeah, once you get on Discord, it's definitely easy. People just need to know. And imagine if you had a fantastic Discord creator person teaching you how to use it. Thank you. Can we say this again? I'm going to read this one out loud, and I'm going to end the show right around in here. Every platform is a challenge for older users because they're conditioned to believe that they're going to be challenged by new platforms. Bam! That's what I'm talking about. That, my friends, is what I'm talking about.
I'm just keeping it real.
Uh-huh. Never did grow up in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s. Been kicking around since the late 60s. Call me Peter Pan. I'll grow up in the next century. Thank you. I am in the exact same boat. 100%. Dang, Dave, you're going to hit 200 episodes, fam? Good Lord. That is incredible. That is, you know, the average podcast doesn't make it past 5 episodes. That's why it was super important for me to like get out of my way and finish that 5th episode, which was the episode I was editing the night that my dad passed. Because I'm like, I told everybody when I started that most people don't make it past 5 episodes, and here I am stuck on episode 5. So thank you, Rich, for putting your foot on my butt. Lots of people only know Discord like it's just for gamers. I'm not a gamer. I'm sure it's not for me. But if you don't pitch in and join my community, that's a very different proposition. Yes, I believe pitch in as join my community. I think that's better than say join my Discord. Yeah. Or Keely brought this up the other day. Don't be like join my server. What server? Nobody knows what the heck that is. Like that is the language of Discord, but don't say that. I'm convinced smart speed just makes me talk slower. Okay. Okay. Yo, Marga, good to see you here. Family, I'm about to wrap this up because I got to go do my class. Boom, boom. Tyler, man, you got to go back and watch. All you people who are missing the notification, double check the bell and make sure you have it set for all. That might help you a lot. I'm just checking. Tyler B. Talking says, most of my podcast viewers are driven from outside of YouTube unless it's a short. Again, all of this is going to change very soon, Tyler. That's the whole point. So I'm kind of keeping everybody abreast as things are changing, things are happening. This is going to change. Once the actual tab comes, the behavior will wrap around, finally catch itself up. It was Rosie. That's it. Alice was from the Brady Bunch. All right. And Rosie was modeled after Alice on the Brady Bunch, so that's why I get it mixed up. Right? Thank you, Michael. Tell them again, Discord is an absolute treat for those of us who started with news groups and BBS. I was just telling the community the other day, I started on a Weiss 2020 terminal, calling in to Usenet way back in the day, and then, yes, the BBS, 100%. Oh, damn. Camera junkie. Hold up. Let me get this. He said, Adam, facts is, what device did you use to leave that comment? Meaning the comment that was posted earlier here on the channel. The same device you will put the comment like that on with Discord. Wow. Same thing. As a matter of fact, the mechanics are exactly the same. And again, it's the conditioning. And this is not to pick on Adam, but it's just the conditioning. The conditioning that everything new must be hard, which is dumb because you know what was really hard? Walking and talking and not shitting on yourself. And you don't do any of them. Well, now that we're starting to get that age, we might start doing it again. But yeah, like we all started to do the most difficult things in life, not knowing how to do it at all. You know what I'm saying? Boom. It was the Mac Show. There you go. Mac Break was a video show before it was a podcast. Yes, 100%. The original Mac Break and then Mac Break Studio, which still runs to this day and most people don't know, was Alex getting in and kind of showing people how to do some of the more heavy technical stuff related to video creation community at the time. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And it's still there. Do not tell Keely that she's amazing, Adam. Then I'll never hear the end of it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Guys, you guys have been fantastic today. This is so, so good. Server equals the place we serve. Yes, 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 yes. Boom, boom, boom. And I love it when people say that Discord is only for gamers, too. It really cracks me up. Thank you, Mr. Adam. I absolutely appreciate you for the super chat.
How you like that?
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah.
There will be timestamps within the hour. Thank you, Paul. You know, Paul is the best. Paul is the absolute best. He gets these timestamps in the building like there's nobody business. And thank you for the super sticker, Miss Hot Tub Lady, the character holding their hands together and saying thanks. I can see it up there. It's really, really cute sticker. I wish they would make it pop up in Ecamm, but we don't have access to that. Otherwise, he would, look at that. It's really cool. I like it. I like it. All right, gang, we're going to wrap this party up because I have to get ready for class. I just want to remind you that if you've been sitting on a table and you've been thinking about recording a podcast, please get started. If you need some help, get at me, fam. Get at me. Let's get you started. Podcasts are just fantastic, and it's going to be good. Renee says, I kind of love the YouTube algorithm. If we were both to do WWDC podcasts, no one would ever cross over. If we both do WDC videos, there's a good chance we'll appear on each other's sidebar. Super Discovery, 100%, 100%. And I know that you're probably going. I can't go. I'm going to be speaking somewhere else that week, but I will be heavy paying attention and possibly sitting in for Renee while he goes to WWDC. I might fill up his spot on Twitch because they just need a handsome bearded person. Learning to walk was hard. Second time was the hardest. Ow! Let me read it again. Aubrey says, yes, learning to walk was hard. Learning a second time was even harder. I think that's why we learn when we were young. We forget all the falls. 100%. Gang, that is important. We're going to wrap it up there. Michael Kinney, thank you for coming through. First of all, first time you ever popped up in the channel, absolute surprise to me. And then second of all, I appreciate you for still being here. I'm not going to tell everybody your business. Those Canadians know. The rest of the people probably don't. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate you guys. If you're in the Drop Squad, we got class coming up in roughly an hour and a half. That gives me enough time to get recaffeinated, throw some food in the gullet. If you're still curious about this stuff, I am snitching on the entire podcast process with my Creator 50. We mentioned this the other day in a live stream. One of the cool things about me creating another channel, because I am a YouTube coach and a content creation coach, it gives me the opportunity to show you guys what it's like to start at a channel with 16 subscribers. Check this out. I actually lost 1 subscriber this week already. I don't even know why. Maybe they accidentally said something, maybe whatever. It might have been accident. Who cares? Doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'm not going to get it twisted. Some people freak out over stuff like that. What's good, though, is having to start from scratch is I know what you guys are going through. I don't want you to think that because I'm sitting here at close to 15,000, I forget what it's like to be back there, because I don't. Trust me. And I did YouTube wrong for about 14 years, and I finally started doing it right. And big ups to Renee, who should be peeling 300,000 sometime by the end of the month, if I remember correctly. He's almost there. So yeah, it's just one of these things that if you go in and you do it on purpose, you do it with intent, and you follow the sort of rule, not that there's rules, but you follow the guidelines, you can do this. Everybody can do this. That's the most impressive part about this. Everybody can do this. Some of you guys, well, I have the itch. I have the urge. I don't know what to write it about. There's going to be a new movie, or better yet, there's going to be a new series on Netflix starting in May, June, July somewhere. Start that podcast. Those are some of the best podcasts. My friend Ryan, aka at Hawaii, did the Lost podcast, and for the whole time that show run, he was killing it because people became fans of that show, right? Stranger Things is coming back. If you want, here's a great podcast idea. Kelly, I'm looking at you. Here's a great podcast idea. Late to the Party, okay? And what are you going to do? You're going to go back and watch True Blood, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, all of these all of these shows that everybody see as canon that a whole bunch of people never watch because they were busy, they were in love, they were doing something else, so they're late to the party. So you can allow people a space to come back into the stuff that is now canon for the rest of the community, and you don't want to feel like that weird person who's never watched Fangs and Titties, aka True Blood, as Kelly's name for the show. See? Fantastic podcasting idea. I'm just saying, you guys, there's a way to do this, and I appreciate you. And I believe Stranger Things come back tomorrow. I don't know if I got my dates correct, but here it comes. It's coming back tomorrow. So, guys, make sure, if you haven't done so already, jump over to the Creator 50 podcast. If that kind of stuff excites you, please subscribe. If it doesn't excite you, please don't subscribe, because you're going to mess us up. You know what I'm saying? But if that stuff excites you, knock yourself out. You can also get it at creator50.com and wherever podcasts getting is got. Apple, whatever. If you like the podcast, super important for me, for Renee, for any of your people that are creating podcasts. If you like the podcast, please write iTunes reviews for the podcast that you like. Do not get past 3-4 episodes of a podcast and be like, I'm loving this, and not write those people a review. That is what we would call a Richard move. I love you guys. Let's get some. Where my mouse cursor be going someplace it ain't supposed to go. Oh, universal control. I love you, but now you're moving my mouse to the wrong screen. Wait, I can't play that yet. See, y'all got me all twisted. Here we go. I'm out of here. Love you.
City of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of